Here's what's coming up on episode 163. The return of Anne and Renata of Frightfully Good. Of the episode, You Rock, Ladies.
Well, thank you, Uncle Patrick.
Thank you, Uncle Patrick. We really want to see you live. We want to be there and give you big bear hugs.
When we're allowed to hug.
I know, if that's ever a thing again.
Yeah, you and your beautiful husband, actually. Give you both a big hug.
And your puppy dog with no teeth.
He's snoozing underneath the table right now.
Oh, your dog?
Got the husband with no teeth. Out of the table. This is not. Please stop recording. Stop recording.
Welcome to the Big Seance Podcast. I'm Patrick Keller of BigSeance.com, and this is a place for an open discussion on all things paranormal, but specifically topics like ghosts and hauntings, paranormal research, spirit communication, psychics and mediums, and life after death. So basically, anything that pops up in my paranormal world. The candles are already lit, so you might as well come on in and join the seance.
So, long story short, y'all, I had big plans for a serious episode today. And like many of you, probably, this pandemic and being quarantined is getting a little weird. And for some of you, it might be kind of a struggle. Even for this recluse, I'm seeing that. And I decided that serious is not what I need right now. I need some laughs and some fun. And so I hope you'll appreciate the decision I've made today. So where's the best place for you to go when you're looking for a laugh and paranormal fun? You go down under to track down Anne Rzechowicz of Oz Paratech and Renata Daniel of Newcastle Ghost Tours. But together, they are frightfully good. They were last on the show in episode 122 a few years ago. Just go to BigSeance.com/122 for those show notes if you missed that episode. But first, here's what I'm drinking. I'm drinking Nuwati's Healer Tea again, y'all. Do I even need to tell you why? This tea is really good for sinus problems, allergies, and headaches, all of which I have from time to time. This is also the tea that I often have on my table when I go to events, if those ever happen again. A step in the instructions for this tea tells you to sniff it first, and it's likely you'll sneeze. And I've seen a lot of people do that at my table. You sniff it dry to open up the sinus passages, and then brew a cup for respiratory health and to strengthen the immune system. And why the sneeze? Because the Healer Tea contains cayenne. That's the coolest part of it, in my opinion. I had never heard of such a thing until Nuwati. And there's nothing quite like having the cayenne tingling on your lips for a while after you've been drinking it. So what else is in it? It contains rose hips, astragalus, echinacea, elderberries, mullein, white willow bark, and much more. So help me thank Nuwati Herbals for sponsoring the show by visiting NuwatiHerbals.com and ordering the Healer Tea, Nuwati's #1 best-selling product. And don't forget, you can get 15% off your order if you use the code BIGSEANCE, all one word. Thanks, Nuwati Herbals. All right, everybody. I am speaking to Anne and Renata. You've heard them before. If you've hung out on the Big Seance Parlor on Facebook, you have seen them, you've heard them as they've joined in on different live streams. They've also been on an episode, and I can't remember what episode right now, but they've been on a previous episode. Huge riot, big hit. And I just decided, with everything going on in the world right now, that we needed to have them back because they are guaranteed to make you pee your pants no matter the occasion. And they're so lovely, and they're great friends from Australia who I've never met physically. I wish we could do that sometime. They actually had plans to come to the US, and now they seem to, like many of us, have some extra time on their hands and canceled that trip. And
we actually had it cancelled on us, but that's okay.
It was kind of forced on you. That's right.
Yeah.
I told Anne and Renata that this is possibly the very first episode that I've not had any notes in front of me. I have no agenda. I have nothing scripted. And I'm thinking, because it's Anne and Renata, I don't think that's going to be a problem, because we could just roll. We could just shoot a topic off and go. But I do have some
improvisation is my thing. I like improvisation.
But, with Anne and Renata, it could also be scary.
It could. You just never know where this might lead to.
So I don't want to assume that people know you. I mean, probably most people listening are going to know you and the videos you do, and you guys do lots of cool things in the paranormal world in Australia and are becoming wildly popular. But tell us a little bit about you guys and what you do individually and then together.
I'm pointing at her and she's pointing at me. Well, I own Oz Paratech, which is Australia's, I like to say, the Southern Hemisphere's largest paranormal online equipment store. It's because we are really the only one that sells ghost hunting gear in the Southern Hemisphere, but that's okay. We'll go with that. And Renata and I together run the Seance Parlor, which always gets me confused with your, I always keep calling you the Big Seance Parlor, and you keep correcting me.
That's only slightly confusing. I've done it a few times too.
So the Seance Parlor is just a very small group of people that come into this room we're in now, and we do private seances. That's using the old-fashioned Victorian style of communication. And then the other thing we do is together we run something called Frightfully Good, Paranormal Spiritual Community. And that's Monday nights is where we do the ABC of paranormal strangeness. And we are up to what this week?
The letter N.
N for no. I thought we were up to M for mummy.
Oh, that's right, M. That's how prepared we are.
Not that we know what we're actually talking about yet. We don't know what our topics are, but we will by Monday night. So we do that on 7:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time, Monday nights, and then Thursday nights is the insane night where we do our free tarot, where Renata will pull a one card out for one question for people, and it's sort of gone off in the last couple of months. It was, we'd get 700 people watching maybe to 1,000, and the other week we had 12,000 watching. So 12,000 in total that watched the episode, and it had a reach of 80,000 or something ridiculous. It was insane. But people need to know, if they're going to watch us, I'm naughty. I will swear, and I'm being a very good girl just for you today, Patrick. I'm being very good because I read from something called the naughty cards, because I'm not psychic or a medium in that sort of capacity like Renata. She is the tarot queen, the tarot master, and I just read naughty cards, which are very blunt to your face and swear.
And if you tuned in to one of the live streams I had, a while ago, I've been doing quite a few of those lately because, again, I have some extra time on my hands, and so do you. And totally busted out some of those naughty cards. And so you may have heard some of them. You have to go back to the video and check it out.
Now, we often have some new people that come on either night, and they're a little bit taken aback by Anne. And, we keep on saying, look, you have to understand that this is a bit of a comedy duo as well as...
Yeah, I wanted to start up a channel called Old Ladies That Swear. I reckon it would be a hit.
Well, now you have the audience where you could do that. Do you know how many people stream content that would kill for numbers like you have now when you do live videos?
Yep.
So Renata, tell us a little bit about your part of things.
Yeah, your turn.
Well, my name is Renata Daniel, and I have been reading tarot for 30 years professionally. And I started getting into ghost hunting about 12, 13 years ago. And about 10 years ago, I got together with a friend and we started professional ghost hunting or ghost hunting tours here in my local city of Newcastle in Australia. And about a year or so later, I was left with that particular business, which has kind of gone gangbusters ever since then. So I'm kind of really saying that I'm living my dream at the moment. So I get to do ghost hunting. I get to do some psychic work. I get to do some workshops and teach, which I really love to do. And just always expanding and looking for something interesting because, that's what life needs to be about, always continuing to look for something interesting to do.
And the other thing that we do is that we like to travel the world when there's no virus, exploring as many haunted locations as we possibly can, and hopefully speaking at conventions and things. Yeah. We had 2 booked for this year. We were speaking at the Women's Paranormal Retreat in West Virginia in June. Never mind. And we are still speaking, and we will still be speaking at Haunted Bourbon in New Orleans in early October. Please, God, please.
And I have everything crossed at the moment, fingers, toes, and everything.
Well, I have a feeling that a lot of these big events that make a lot of us excited are going to end up eventually just being virtual, at least for the next. That's just kind of how I think it'll go, at least for the next year, as people are on edge. But you're right. I was just going to say that in a typical year, you guys are nonstop. You guys are crazy people. You are always either leading a tour or organizing an event or on a ghost hunt or, doing a live video. I mean, I would be dead. I don't know how you guys do it for real.
Well, look, Patrick, we're lucky that we're at a stage where we can do that. If it was 20 years ago or 25 years ago, in my case, I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd be hard at work and I'd still be looking after, children growing up and all of that sort of stuff. But I guess what we want to do as part of what we do is to show that the elderly folk...
And then we can talk about ageism, okay? We'll talk about that shortly.
The elderly folk still have something to give into the paranormal community. We can still talk and we can still have, good content.
We can climb stairs slowly, but we get there. I don't even need a stick yet.
Well, you two are the hippest elderly folk I've ever seen, if that's the case.
Yeah, and it's important to, the paranormal attracts people from the youngest of ages to the oldest of ages. We've had people on our tours, and I've mentioned this before, that do need help to climb stairs, and they're as enthusiastic about what is going on as the younger ones that are watching all the TV shows and, have got all the equipment and everything. So it shouldn't be something that is categorized into like the 20 to 28-year-olds and that's it. That's your target audience, because you're missing out on a whole lot of other people that are still as interested and still buy the books and still listen to the podcasts and all of that type of stuff that's available. Sometimes they just don't want to show their face because it's like, there'll only be young people there, so I'm not going to go.
And what about that group that we bumped into at the Ancient Ram Inn when we were in England last year?
Oh, yes.
They split us into 2 groups. We had all the knobs with their night vision cameras. who have watched every ghost hunting TV show and know everything about ghost hunting. They were lads. All of them were lads. And then there was the other group, and they were all profoundly deaf. And I wanted to go ghost hunt with them because it would have been amazing.
Yes.
I would have loved to have seen what they did. They had somebody specially with them to tailor it to what they can do rather than what they can't do.
So you're not talking about just like hard of hearing. You're talking about
No,
profoundly deaf.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they would have been picking up on a whole lot of different stuff than those
their other senses.
than those that can hear, because we use what we always have at our disposal, which is our eyes and our hearing.
And as you know, we love our table tipping and the Victorian seance with the glass and all that sort of thing. And we were so busting to do table tipping in England that sort of felt like the home of where everything is, apart from Lilydale. And they've got the table out. We're like, oh, yes, who wants to sit down and have a go? Me. So Renata and I are on there. We've got our hands on and we've got our nice positions, and the lads.
And there's seven night vision cameras on us from each angle. And they're checking us out, and they're looking for muscle movements and everything. And I hear from my right-hand side the voice going, someone's cheating at that table. And kind of going, oh, no.
And then the lady's gone, well, can you all put your back of your hands on the table? So we've dutifully put our back of the hands on the table. The table's rocking and carrying on, and it's no, don't believe it. No, someone's faking it. No. And the lady's gone, how can they be faking it? They've got the backs of their hands on the table. They're not manipulating it. And he's gone, no. He said, well, tell us, who is it? It's one of the ladies. Hello. All right, which one?
Oh, it was the old lady.
They really said that? Stop it.
So, of course, I immediately got the poos.
Oh, good girl. You didn't say the other word.
No, I immediately got the poos and stood up and went and walked into the corner and folded my arms.
She did.
Oh.
I went, okay, let's see what happens from this point on. And the table did nothing. Nothing.
The spirits packed the poos that they booted Renata off the table.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, one of the lads said, if I can't see it through the video of a camera lens, it doesn't exist. We go, huh? What?
Well, good luck with the rest of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that particular night was a very long night.
It finished at 3 a.m, I think.
Yeah, it was.
And can I just say, the old ladies lasted right to the very end, and all the young lads had to go home to bed.
Well, I'm here to tell you that I haven't done an all-nighter like that in several years. And I used to struggle when I would be out on investigations, and I'm fairly confident I could not do it now. Not without a cot or a sleeping bag or something.
I'll go all night. I'm an all-nighter, but I will crash the next day. I'll be a mess.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, the last time you were here, we talked about table tipping, which was fascinating because that's a technique that really, to my knowledge, has never really, at least in recent times, taken off. It's not really been a popular discussion here at all. So that's interesting.
It has here in Australia now.
Why?
Well, because you've shown everyone how to do it.
As we there's all these copycat sort of businesses popping up doing what we do. So now it's a matter of saying we are the original.
Are there Anne and Renatas walking around all over the place doing comedy duos?
Yeah.
I really got the poos when somebody put a sticker on the back of their car saying that they were the table tipping lady, and I'm going, hang on, I'm the one that introduced it back into Australia, not you. I should get that title. And I thought, no, let it go. That's ego. That's just ego. We'll let that go.
No, look, as with everything, there are techniques that need to be learnt and things that need to be observed in a space just to make sure that everyone feels that, we're not sort of dabbling in things that we shouldn't be, and that they're, walking away uncomfortable or whatever. So what we try and do is just make sure that everyone kind of understands our process and where we're coming from and what we're trying to do through this process. Yeah. And it's unique because everyone gets to be completely involved rather than being an onlooker. They are completely involved in this process, and this is something that's, really unique. Yeah.
And to me, it's the validation of the information that we are giving which makes it real. Because the information that we come up with is not found on Facebook. It's only within that family that would know that information, like nicknames or something, a word they've made up in the car on the way here to see whether it comes out on the table. And it did. What was it? Tits? I think it was tits. Very spiritual.
That's a bird. That's a bird type.
Tit willow?
Yeah, that's a bird for listeners.
You guys are a riot. Now, I was introduced to both of you through Renata, really, because Renata reached out to me years ago as a listener. As a duo, you guys, I watched all of your live videos on Facebook, I guess going back to like 2 years ago, I'm thinking.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And it's really in the summers when I get the chance to watch you guys because, of our time difference, and I'd be staying up late trying not to fall into having to go to sleep because I'm kind of a late nighter in the summer. And I would watch you and just roll with laughter and giggle in bed while my husband sleeps, and then I wake him up. But sometimes during the school year, I'm known to, catch you sometimes in the middle of the night pee break. You'll be on doing your live videos. And it's about 2 years ago, I guess, when we had you on. And we talked a lot about those live videos, but you have done so much, and I've been wanting to catch up with you for months now. You have done so much since your last time here on the podcast.
I think I remember last time you were going to catch up with us after we came back from England, and it wasn't the last one we did in November. It was the year before that.
Yes, because you keep going places.
I know. We like to be busy.
Tell us some of the places you've been.
Well, we've been to Romania, so we did a sort of a tour that took us through Dracula country, which was
Transylvania.
Yeah, which was fascinating. We went to England and we did a little bit of spiritual stuff. We did a little bit of our own spiritual journey in that, but we did a few ghost hunting experiences as well, which were...
I can't remember the first trip. It's that bad.
I'd have to go through the videos.
You can't remember either, can you?
I got no idea where we went.
I know we did a lot more this time around.
Yeah. And what was that, Anne?
This time around we went to the Ancient Ram Inn, which I mentioned.
Yeah.
We also went to the Pontefract Black Friar Poltergeist House.
Yes.
That was funny.
Yes. We went to the Arthur Findlay College.
Oh, yes. We went to the Arthur Findlay
College. I'm so jealous of you.
Where I did cabinet work.
Yes, you learned to sit in a cabinet, otherwise known as a wardrobe.
And if they knew, we would be packed and gone the same night. So,
and we went over to Ireland, and we tried to go to
Loftus
Hall, which is where, I don't know if you saw my REMPod info commercial I did. I'll have to send it to you. It was howling. I couldn't get my jacket up. The gates had been locked. We could see Loftus Hall off in the distance, and driving rain, wind, and I'm standing there in the freezing cold with the REM pod saying, so today we bring you the REM pod. I could barely hang on to it. We figured we might as well make the most out of a very sad situation that we couldn't get to Loftus Hall.
I wouldn't get out of the car. I actually videoed it from inside the car.
It was wild. It was really wild. But then we went over to we went to Lemp Castle as well, and with Muckross Abbey, which we had a fantastic experience there. When we went over to England, where we went up to the Pontefract, Arthur Finlay, and also what was that pub we stayed in where they had the Sweeney Todd, the Ostrich?
Oh, the Ostrich Inn, just outside of London.
Yeah, that was like where the story for Sweeney Todd was inspired, I think, where they had a bed where they would drug the person so they'd fall asleep, and then during the night they had a big guillotine that dropped and cut their head off from above their bed, and then the whole bed would tilt up and they would slide off into a trapdoor downstairs into a pot of boiling oil. So that went on for quite some time. Yeah, as you do.
Yeah.
And these beautiful people.
Oh, that was hilarious. That story was absolutely hilarious.
Go on, you tell it.
So we're sitting in at dinner or tea, and it's a very small area, so you can hear people's conversations, and there's a group of people at another table very close to us, and they're talking about the whole story of the room where they have the bed that tilts up and everything. And we're looking at each other going, yeah, we're actually going to be investigating in there tonight, because they allowed us to go into the room free of charge, just to sit for a few hours and entertain ourselves in there and see what we could get. Plus, I gave one of the ladies there a bit of a reading, so she kind of went, oh, that's really good. I really like that. Oh, we need to let them up because they might find something. So, these guys over at the other table are talking and whatever, and they were staying at the inn as well, and I think they may have been planning to have a bit of a walk around to see whether they could find this room. Not sure, not terribly interested in that. Couldn't hear that part of the conversation, but I think it was sort of leading there. Anyway, a couple of hours later, we're sitting in the room where it all happened, and it's now just a normal inn room, just a
beautiful, actually, so beautiful
bed, bathroom, glorious, everything. We're sitting on the floor. We've got our gadgets out, and we're doing a few things, and through the doorway, we're hearing voices, and we can hear this lady going, "This is the room. Come. This is the room. This is the room where it all happened." And they're standing outside, right?
And we were live at the time.
Yeah, this is the room. It was all happening in here. So Anne and I stand up, go to the door, and just listen and going, "Oh, this is the story about where they the bed tilted and everything." And Anne grabs, because I'm recording, Anne grabs the doorknob and opens the door. And the shrieking that ensued.
And they ran for their lives.
Terror. They have run down the corridor and we're going, "Stop, we're alive, it's okay." They literally
pooed their pants.
That totally reminds me of the trick that I played on the kids out in the hall at the Lemp Mansion when I was staying there last summer, except I never really admitted to it. I just kept the door. I banged. The kids were going, "Oh my gosh, this is such a big room. No one is in there." And it was this like brother and little sister. And I had just woken up from a nap. It was the room I was staying in. And I heard them, and they had some like little gadget, and they were radioing back to their parents downstairs. They were eating at the restaurant that was downstairs. And so I went up to the door and I went, boom, boom, boom. And I banged on the door. And this brother and little sister were like, "Oh my freaking God, Mom, you have no idea. There's no one in there. This da-da-da-da." And so then they were just freaking out. And then I realized as soon as they did that, I was like, "Oh my God, I'm trapped in this room now because I can't leave and give it myself up. So I'm here until they leave." And I never did. And so I thought, well, is this horrible that I did this? Or is it cool that I have now made two kids totally excited about coming back to Lemp Mansion to see the ghost?
Oh, in a few years, they're probably going to be doing podcasts and having their own TV show and everything, and going back, well, when was your first experience? When we were in this house.
And then Patrick's going to ring up and say, I have a confession.
Oh, it's funny. It's the only time I've ever really done anything like that because I'm typically pretty serious about that stuff. But it was worth it. It was so worth it. I was just, as you were telling that story, I kind of floated back to a video. I don't even know where or when, but you all were in a car at McDonald's. Do you remember this? You were eating in a car at McDonald's, and I don't even remember what was going on, but it's probably one of the funniest videos I've ever watched with you guys. You guys on the road together are a hoot. There's nothing.
Oh, you got to come road tripping with us.
Oh.
We just laugh from the beginning to the end.
You should watch the video of us trying to get out of the airport.
Heathrow Airport, us trying to get out, and there's scratches on the roof from people who had failed before us.
I remember watching that video too, yes.
Oh.
I think the one at McDonald's is where I was trying to eat keto and I'd bought 2 meat patties, 2 pieces of cheese and 2 eggs, and I'm picking at it and trying to eat it, and she's going,
well, there is so much heartache in this world, and there are so many things that you can get really upset about. And in the end, you kind of either choose to make a joke out of it and laugh through it, or you can get seriously obsessed about being quite angry. And that's just no good. Some of these things are completely out of our control, and, you just sort of roll with it and go, okay, well, let's see what we can do with this.
Yeah.
And, when you're traveling and we are literally in each other's face 24 hours a day, you kind of...
You got to learn to fart with each other for starters.
You learn about the other person's bowel movements very quickly, and matches. Can I just say matches?
Yes.
If you're traveling, take matches with you. Very, very important.
Like if we needed to poo, we'd say, I need to go light a match. The idea is that lighting the match actually absorbs the smell. It burns it up. If it's a particularly bad number 2, it's a
two-match job.
It might be a 2-match job.
I remember Christmas at my grandma's house growing up. There was always matches right by
I've never heard of it before.
Yeah.
I introduced Anne to matches. It works. Yes, it does. So when you're traveling in big groups, someone takes some matches and you'll all be very fine. You'll be wonderful. Yeah. But we do try and do some serious investigating through all of that fun. We do. But, we're also staying up late where we get accommodation that isn't 100% perfect. And
because we'd rather have a spooky experience than have a really nice room.
Yeah. We think, this looked good, but no, it's not. It's got 50,000 stairs and we've got to carry this big thing of luggage up there. And
I started pulling the aged card. So I would contact these places and say, look, my friend is in her 60s and can we just not have too many stairs because I don't want to make a podcast says, and she hit me. She's the fittest person I know. Worked. I'd just like to say it worked.
You're listening to the Big Seance Podcast with Patrick Keller. Be sure to check out BigSeance.com for more discussion.
This episode of the Big Seance Podcast has been sponsored by Nuwati Herbals, a family-owned business operated in the St. Louis, Missouri area since 2002. The Cherokee people have a word for universal energy. That word is Nuwati. Rod Jackson is the founder of Nuwati and has personally developed their products from recipes influenced by his Cherokee ancestors. The Nuwati line consists of natural herbal products designed to actually do something. They promote healing, healthy skin, relaxation, and energy. They produce 4 lead product lines: herbal teas, herbal bath salts and scrubs, herbal bath bags, and herbal balms and body oils. They also have soaps, natural insect repellent, and a line of pet products. Nuwati has been featured at numerous red carpet events at the Grammy Awards, the Teen Choice Awards, the Oscars, the Emmys, and the Screen Actors Guild Annual Health Fair. Visit NuwatiHerbals.com and use code BIGSEANCE, all one word, to receive 15% off your Nuwati Herbals order as a thank you. Again, that's NuwatiHerbals.com, and Nuwati is Nuwati.
Thanks for joining us for the Big Seance Podcast. We'd better get back to the table while there's still some candlelight left.
Other than like the table tipping and Renata's tarot, like what are some of your, because I'm always seeing you guys do different experiments with people as you give tours and giving them different experiences. What are some other of your favorite experiments or tools or toys or how do you seance?
Well, my favorite one at the moment is the Estes experiment.
Yes. Mine too.
Yeah, the headphones and the spirit box, for those who don't know what it is. So the idea is that they listen to the feed coming through from the spirit box through their headphones and they can't hear questions being asked. I've had profound experience with that. The most notable one would be Norfolk Island.
Oh, wow. Yep.
So where we were there, we were at a return service leagues club, so the RSL or the RISL as we like to call it, and they had a wall of remembrance. So all the people who had fought in the war and had since passed, their photo went up onto this wall. Now we had a group of people on the headphones with the SB11. You remember feet? How many feet away was it from us?
Oh, I don't know.
About 20 metres, which I don't know, 40 feet, something like that. So they were quite a distance from us.
And they had their backs to the wall.
Their backs to us, and they were just listening to the feed, calling out whatever they heard, and Renata was at the wall. She's going, okay, let's try this. Are you on this wall? And we're getting, yes. All right, well, are you here? Right. So this is the people calling out the answers, and so she'd head down there, and then are you a male or female? Female, and she'd be standing in front of it, and they'd say stop, and there'd be a lady there, and Renata was pointing at it, and of course the people got their back, they can't see it, and she's going, oh, you've got a medal. What colour is on your medal? What ribbon? And it's gone yellow. Because we were looking at the red, and then because we were on night vision, we looked at it again, and it was yellow, and then it's gone red. So it was giving us very specific answers, and then she started looking for more people. It would give you a name, and we'd go to that, and they'd say, there was somebody that was on a horse, and then I said, oh, what are you on? Then they went horse, and then they've given us a name, and I was, oh, well, where are you? Right. So we looked to the right, and sure enough, that person's name was to the right. I got some of it on video when I realised what sort of connection we had. I got the camera up and running. Some of it is on YouTube. But that was where I suddenly went, holy moly, this actually works. This is for real.
Yeah, that was amazing, because I was literally standing in front of all of these people who were literally now coming through and going, come over and see me, come over and point to me, because I'm important too. I want you to tell me, to recognise me and get them to tell you my name.
And we even asked, like, what country did you come from?
Yeah.
And some were from America, and they've gone America. And we go, what? And then New Zealand?
Yeah.
We were getting accurate hits on that as well.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, we did a lot of Estes Method at the Haunted Castle House where Karen Dahlman and I stayed this winter. And it was fascinating because this castle house had been a doctor's office for years. So there was a few different mass graves also in the backyard because of different flus and illnesses and Spanish flu or whatever it was. But it wasn't like verified, but it was like people knew and you could still see graves. And there was also a Civil War campsite very near in the backyard as well. And in every one of our Estes sessions, it was nonstop medical talk, medical terms, And like battle, like there was a battle going on, and then medical terms. And then all of a sudden we were getting things talking about bodies outside in the backyard and where these mass graves are, all from the spirit box. So it blows my mind. And we also got some football game scores and stuff like that. So you have to you have to be really good at using your best judgment and kicking whatever things out that don't really make sense. But it's fun. I'll tell you that. It's my favorite thing going on right now too.
Yeah, I think for people who are really quite psychic too, it's a great development tool, because there's a part of the conversation that's coming through from the spirit box that you're trying to tune into and then interpret. But there's also a level that sometimes you can drop in, because it's happened to me quite often where I'm hearing this noise, but I'm also hearing a level of conversation underneath that seems to be talking directly to me. So for me, it's a great tool for people who are mediums or psychics, and that listening ability, that ability to tune in and to phase everything else out, and allowing yourself to say what you intently believe is coming through without feeling that you have to fill a gap because someone has asked a question, is really an empowering thing. Every psychic should try this if they get onto it at all.
She channels.
Yeah. So it's a really cool thing to do, and really cool.
Once again, on that Isaac Butterfield shoot we did with them, Renata went onto the headphones, and she's sitting with her head down and her hands over her ears. She's not even looking up, and he's asking questions, and they had a conversation that went on and on and on, and it sounded like a prisoner talking to somebody who was up himself and was giving him a hard time. So it was intelligent conversation.
And then I had to stop because I was getting this interference coming through, and it got me quite agitated, because it seemed to me as though there was someone else coming through, a gentleman, and he was trying to give a message to someone that was there in our group live. And I had to stop because it was irritating me, because this person was getting really, really angry that they weren't being heard properly, or that the message wasn't coming through. I ended up stopping the session. I told the group that I felt that there was this gentleman that had come through that had passed over, and I felt that there was a message for someone there that night, and it turned out to be true. We did a little bit of table tipping and glass dowsing at the end of the night, and one of the participants there got quite a really intense and emotional message that had come through, and it was really sort of pushed through by this person that was coming through the SB11 earlier on. So these things kind of tend to, if we open up the space and allow things to happen beyond what we have planned, often things will occur left to field that we're not prepared for, but make sense if we just allow them to happen, which is really interesting. It's like, yes, we have a plan of attack when we go into these places and we want to do this experiment or that experiment, but if we just keep it open-ended, something else might occur in the whole mix of things that ends up being wildly fantastic that no one had planned for, but it's now occurred because, well, those in spirit that are there to talk are wanting this particular thing to happen, and now they have the opportunity to, because we've got all this gear. So ghost hunters and paranormal investigators also, I think, need to be aware that they kind of just need to look beyond what they're planning or what they're envisioning for a particular experiment, because you just really don't know what could be happening and what that information might be leading to.
And it seems to me that you two work really well together, with Renata being more intuitive and having a mediumistic side, and then Anne, you having a stockpile of every gadget in the world. And, you know, it just, it's perfect.
Yeah, it is. Perfect storm. One of the other things I came up with the spirit box that we tried in Tasmania was to actually put it onto white noise, just radio static. And we got people to put on their headphones and to try and slip into a meditative state. And we just said to them, just say anything that pops into your mind. It might be a memory that floats through. It might be your shopping list. It might be, just random stuff, but say whatever pops into your mind. And oh my God, didn't that just go? That went down a very dark hole very quickly.
We were at an old asylum site, and the only piece of information we gave them was place yourself in the minds of the people that would have been here. That's all. And then just try and listen to this white noise and see what is coming through for you. So we were actually at the back of this hall asking questions that would be pertaining to people who had spent time in this particular asylum. So that's the reference point there. And these ladies that were on just went deep. They went deep. We had to actually pull them out at one stage when it went too deep.
Yeah.
And they were all getting quite upset and frantic because they were literally in the minds of these inmates. And we had to stop them, take them outside, give them all fresh air, talk them down.
One of them threw up, got herself so worked up in the state of the person that was there, and she just kept leaving herself open all night and having issues. But we were also getting intelligent conversations again. They couldn't hear us, and we were getting terrifying conversations of these poor people that were stuck in this horrible environment.
Yeah.
So what do you do then at that point, because you kind of have a responsibility with people that you're leading through? Do you like cleanse?
No, we send them home and charge them money for a clearing. This is how we make our money, didn't you know?
No, we don't. We don't.
He's going to edit that out.
No, we don't. We are always 100% focused on what is going on within any group or any person. And people ask me all the time, well, what do you experience on tours? And I say, I don't experience anything at all because I'm too busy watching everybody else and making sure that they're experiencing something, because I can come back and I can have my experiences whenever. And if I get information that will come when it comes, I don't really need to be in a spot. But a lot of these people come for the first time, or they come multiple times because of their free will. They are there to have an experience. And so when these people are having this experience, number one, we say to them, this is what you were wanting to have. Number two, now let's deal with you coming down and understanding what has happened and how you can disassociate from that. So we have to make sure that there isn't a psychological thing happening and that there is this disconnect. And so we take them outside, or we give them a breather. We make sure that we ground them back in. So we talk about normal daytime stuff. What did you do today? What's your child's name?
How did you get here? What did you have for breakfast?
Yeah, all that sort of stuff to ground them, bring them down. Often it's a cup of tea, cold water. And we actually, in this experience that Anne was talking about in the asylum, we had one lady who got very overcome. And we are saying to her, now, we don't want you to be involved in any other deep experiments. Can you please just stand back and watch, because you have become quite connected, and we are just being wary of your emotional state. No, I won't be involved in anything else. I'll just stand back. I'll just watch. And the next rotten experiment, she's in there again, her headphones on, everything's on, and we're going, what the hell are you doing? No, I'm fine. I'm ready. I want to do it. And we're going, no, but I mean,
honey, you're a ghost magnet. Stop.
Oh, no. Oh, my God, I hate that. Oh, that's up there with orbs now.
Oh, dear. We had one poor gentleman on our tarot night last Thursday night who was told by someone that he produced a lot of energy that connected with spirit people that were all around him. And, of course, then he was seeing dark shadows everywhere he went. And I said to him, who told you this? And he said, I went to a reader and she said that I give out a lot of energy. And, of course, well, did she say how you can cope with this? No. How many years ago was this? 12 years ago? Well, gee, that's a long time to be scared by ghosts and dark entities and not to do something about it. So it's, you've got to be very careful on how you speak to people and how you influence them with what you say. If you're going to say something like that to them, you need to also give them a technique to cope.
Yeah.
Or it can lead to, really, really awful situations for these people.
You two both have matching tattoos now?
We do.
Yes, we do.
Well, almost matching.
I always change. When I have a tattoo done, I always change in the last minute.
That's our infinity symbol.
And I've heard a little bit of this story and I loved it. And I think it's kind of a perfect story to end on because I love it. How did this come about? Tell us about it.
Well, we were doing the world's largest ghost hunt. And we were in a site that's called Tomago House, which is one of our National Trust heritage buildings in the area. And we had 30, 40 people there. So we had a lot of people doing different experiments. And we had a small table set out where there was Anne, myself, and two other people.
We picked people who were more experienced spiritually, psychically, to sit with us.
And we had a set of questions that we needed to go through.
And these questions were asked throughout the world supposedly at the one time.
Yeah, yeah. And so we started to sit down and get this connection happening and start to ask questions like, what should the world be doing right now? What's the most important thing? And, with glass dowsing, we get the energy that is on the table to spell things for us. So the glass moves and creates letters that we can see. It's all visual. And so it was spelt out to pray. That was the word, please pray. And this is the 12 months prior, we did the same thing and we got the same word, please pray. That is one of the most important things you can all be doing at this point in time. Just pray for everyone to...
my eyes roll a little bit and I'm going, pray? Really?
Yeah. And, of course, Anne asks, well, to pray to who? Who are we supposed to be praying to?
And I was expecting it to spell God.
Mm-hmm. You want to carry on?
And it didn't.
No,
it actually spelt out Abraham. And once again, that was not anything any of us at the table were expecting. There was many pagans on the table. We had a mixture of everybody. And I thought, all right, well, who's Abraham? Thinking, is this an alternate name for God or is this a different faith or what it is? And it started to draw the figure 8, the infinity symbol on the table. And I still get goosebumps talking about it today. And you could feel the energy on the table was so overwhelming in a good way, not in a bad way, but it was just like, wow. And then we went, okay, so we'll take all this on and that was our 5 questions done and dusted, and Renata went and looked it up just to try and understand what this message was. And Abraham is from the Old Testament, if I remember correctly.
No, it goes
back further than that.
Back further than that, because it's like Abraham is
it's before religion.
Yeah, is a name that kind of comes about to encompass, because it kind of means that which has no name, or the father of all. So this infinity is like the here, the now, the before, past, and present, the future all together.
It's everything at every time, and it's infinity. And the combination of that word with the infinity symbol was profound.
We all had a moment where I think everything changed for us personally. Yeah. So when we went to Glastonbury, we got a tattoo.
Yeah, we got matching infinity symbols tattooed on us. one of the other things the table did spell out, and I think it might have been the year before, is what can humanity do to help the earth, to help us? And it spelt out die. Yeah. Well, you think about it.
That's right. You were saying that the other night. Neat.
They're not lying. And how's the best way to communicate with the other side? Die.
Okay, I'm breaking in really quickly here because I just want to give you some heads up that there is about to be some commentary about a big guy in a red suit, a hat, a beard. And so if there are littles with you, you may decide you want to skip a few minutes. Okay, back to our discussion. What questions do you ladies still have about the paranormal or life or after death?
1,000. 1,000.
How long you got?
Yeah, they're non-stop, because for me it's all about not knowing what the answers are as such. You know, maybe some of the intrigue and the wonder of all of this would disappear. It's like children finding out that Santa Claus doesn't exist. You know, how much wonder and excitement and brilliance is it to think that there is something like Santa Claus and then to be told, well, no, there's not. That kind of just drops you down into this adulthood, this part of responsibility where you've just got to be stoic and, you know, nothing is real, you know, all of that's fantasy and we don't need that in our life. Where honestly, for us as creatures who have this intelligence, that is the spark of the most amazing creativity, when we can find joy in just being able to explore what could be without having to know all the answers. I kind of don't think that's important. It would be great at some point in time to, you know, but we find that when we talk to our guides on the table, that it's, you know, we have to show our commitment, and they're always testing us. They're always kind of saying, no, we're not going to make it easy for you, because if it was easy for you, everyone would be doing it and it would be useless. It would be a useless, junky piece of information that would be thrown in the corner after a while, and you'd just be carrying on the way you always do. And this is something that we need to strive to understand, because in understanding it, it makes us better people. That was deep, wasn't it?
That was seriously
You
deep.
channeled that.
I know, right?
Well, top that, Anne.
I just want to know what's out there. I want to know if it's alien, time slip, a parallel universe, floating balls of energy. I don't know what it is, and that's what I want to know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think if we got the answers to some of those questions, there would just be more after that.
Yeah.
You know, there's always going to be something.
Yeah.
Even when we're on the other side, I feel like there's going to be questions.
Why? Why?
Oh, it's not fair.
Do you have any final thoughts?
Our final thoughts are, or my final thoughts are, I hope all of this COVID-19 stuff is over really, really quickly, because it's just so soul destroying. I know that for empaths and psychics and those that are really tuned into what's happening on the earth, they're feeling a lot of pain at the moment, but there's so much anger happening too, where people are becoming so frustrated because they're not getting to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And sometimes it's as simple as that. You can't tell me what to do. And it's a very selfish place to come from. And it's really a great opportunity for people to develop their patience and understanding. So, but we can only go for so long. And then there is a real poo storm coming. Economically and everything else. So it needs to finish quickly.
Yeah, it does. And we talked before we started recording. I was talking about some ideas I had for a future episode about end of life planning and death doulas and palliative care, and how the world right now is having to be faced with stuff that we don't tend to like to talk about. in modern days. And you reminded me that you have some experience in that area. So I wondered if you had any wisdom for us, or, you know.
Me have wisdom? You're talking to the wrong person. No, I worked as a music humour memory practitioner in aged care, and we were taught to talk openly with people and have a laugh instead of making everything in life so serious. And like when the elderly people want to speak about death, talk to them about it. Don't go, oh, don't talk about that. You're going to be fine. You're going to live another 100 years.
I hate that.
No, they're not.
I hate that. Yeah.
Yeah. Be honest with them and say, oh, okay, do you think your time's soon? And like my dad does this all the time. He'll say, I won't be here for Christmas. I said, well, can you let me know? I'll just make sure I don't buy a Christmas present for you. And so I do that sort of thing. So we have a laugh, and he laughs and thinks that's funny. But then he will tell me what's on his mind, what worries him, and how he wants his funeral. And I'll argue with him sometimes. He said, I just want a quiet funeral. I don't want anyone attending. I said, yeah, that's all well and good for you, Dad, but we're the ones that got to be left behind and grieve. So we might want a funeral. And it's an open conversation. And also, don't be frightened of death. I have sat with people as they're dying, and it's actually a very profound thing to sit there. I would get my ukulele out and I would sing songs, and you could see that it would calm the breathing and it wouldn't be so laboured for them. Maybe my singing was killing them. I don't know.
We don't have any data to prove that.
I think the thing that people are missing, though, is at the moment is not being there with their loved ones if they are passing. That's the hard thing about having to stay away. And that's really hard. You'd have to take you back to times when we had world wars where, you know, people were going overseas and they would die on the battlefield somewhere far, far away, and families were left to grieve not knowing what was happening. So really you're following in footsteps of your great-grandparents and grandparents, because that's what they were feeling as well. So you have, in a very awful way, understanding what grief can do to people. Because there are ways of trying to assist and to help that, but it's a difficult situation. Yeah,
and just talking openly sometimes can also give the person who's worried about it some peace of mind if they're anxious, to be able to discuss things, and all you have to do is listen. Yeah. It's as simple as just sitting there and listening without interjecting. Did I say the right word? Mm-hmm. Good.
I love you, ladies.
Oh, it's understandable, Patrick.
And you are, you're big time now.
Oh yeah. We're so big.
Well, Patrick, we've got a TV show coming out, Patrick. Did you know that? Oh, yeah. Pardon me. That was my chair. She keeps telling me not to move because my chair farts. I mean, pops off.
Stop right now. Stop.
We've got to tell them about the TV show.
Oh, go ahead.
It the Cracks or something? I don't know. What? The spaces between.
You do have a TV show coming?
Yeah. Yeah, somebody actually took a risk and worked with old ladies to do a paranormal TV show.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when do we hear about this?
Oh, well, no, we're all waiting to hear about it. No, seriously.
They looked at it and gone, no, we can't possibly show this.
She said it's fantastic. Is it called The Spaces Between or Space?
Yeah, The Space Between.
The Space Between. And it's by Morningstar Productions.
It's not called Two Elderly Women Who Cuss?
That's the next one.
Yeah, okay. That's season 2. Yeah, so we're I've seen a clip for it. I was in it. You missed out. Never mind.
Oh, sorry.
It was filmed over 3 years.
Yeah.
And we brought Renata in for the last part. And Roman, my husband, was the silver fox of the show. They kept wanting him and not us. I was like, oh, come on. But no, we eventually got it all done, and it's in the very final stages of being cut together. So it's in post-production, and I don't know where it's going to go, but it's somewhere like Stan or Netflix or something like that.
So is this more of like a docuseries then? If it was over
it's a paranormal documentary.
Very cool.
of this particular lady's journey through the paranormal.
That is awesome. Well, we'll update people as we hear more about that. Now tell people where, for example, Frightfully Good, tell people when you do that live show. So if they're in the US, they can wake up at the right time to watch it.
You can watch it afterwards if you're not on at the time.
But we have had people from America
We've had lots. Yeah, so Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is Sydney time. That is the ABC of Paranormal Strangers. So you can find that either on our YouTube channel, which is Frightfully Good, or the Frightfully Good Paranormal Spiritual Community on Facebook. And then Thursday nights Sydney time, which is 7:30 p.m. 8:30 p.m. we do our free tarot show. Although at the moment we might have to charge people $2 a card because we're broke and have no income.
Because the world is on hold.
That is.
And I need to eat my keto snacks. I'm having a hot flush now.
There's a chair. It's all going wrong now.
Yeah, you need to have a tip jar out in front of you. Throw a tip Anne's way so she can deal with her hot flashes and get her keto.
Poor darling.
Oh, okay. So that's the Monday night and the Thursday night, and then we pop on live every now and then just because we're bored. We want to try and bring laughter back to this very serious field.
And you do that well. And each one of you has your own personal sites and social media, and I'll link all of that stuff in the show notes of the episode. You rock, ladies.
Well, thank you, Uncle Patrick.
Thank you, Uncle Patrick. We really want to see you live. We want to be there and give you big bear hugs.
When we're allowed to hug.
I know, if that's ever a thing again.
Yeah, you and your beautiful husband, actually. Give you both a big hug.
And your puppy dog with no teeth.
He's snoozing underneath the table right now.
Oh, your dog?
Not the husband with no teeth. Under the table. This is not. Please stop recording. Stop recording.
Thank you to the following super paranerds who support the show at patreon.com/BigSeance. Susan Davey, Josiel Lorenzo, Jim Budd, Kim Robb, Natalie, Genesis, Bliss is my muse, Justin J. Justin, Anne Marie Sullivan, Paula Mitchell, and Amy Park Gedicke. My supporters at the Parlor guest level, who can be found at bigseance.com/parlorguests, are Linda of shimmeringmoons.com, Denise Sia of Mystic Moms Paranormal, Anne Rzechowicz of ozparatech.com, Janet of In the Whisper of the Winds.com, Norman and Linda Keller, Lena and John of Carbon Lilies, Christopher Kohler, Bruce Williams, Marion Hover Clairvoyant, Sharon B., Dina DeCastro of Dina DeCastro Astrology, Nettie, Glenna Becker, James Wilfong, Diane Rax, Peggy Hagan, David Rubenstein, and Dave Curry. That sound you just heard was the above and beyond there's not even a category for your level of support fireworks display. Because I have 3 awesome listeners who support the show at the $10 level. Steve Skinner, Kevin Gilbert, and AJ Meredith. So thank you, Steve, Kevin, and AJ, and thank you, Paranerds.
For show notes, including links to anything we may have mentioned in this episode, visit BigSeance.com.
You can find and subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, and just about anywhere podcasts are found. Do you have any comments or feedback? Go to BigSeance.com/feedback to learn how to get your voice in a future show. Or you can call my feedback line, 7755-TELL-ME. That's 775-583-5563. Interested in learning how to promote and share the podcast? Go to BigSeance.com/share. Thank you so much for listening. Unfortunately, it's time to blow the candles out, but we'll see you and light them again next time.